So what did you guys think?
It's cool.
Yeah, yeah, I liked it. I think, like we were talking earlier, I think something that maybe could have made it a bit more interesting is if we had to deal with more stressors. Like if we had just
Right.
accumulated more stress and then it was like, okay, now that's a trauma, so that's going to affect how you can do things in the future. You can't just like do whatever you want. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean that would make it harder. Which I mean I didn't think it was like I don't know easy. I mean I don't know how it should really feel, but I mean I felt like it was challenging. Um, I like the story for sure.
Yeah, it seems more
Yeah.
story driven.
Yeah, that was my goal. It wasn't really mechanics, but I did want to explore some of the more social things. I had a couple other scenes that I didn't get into. Um, at one point, these guys were going to run into a herd of deer and destroy the car, and then run into another group of survivors, I guess, and
Hmm.
had to negotiate with them to give you a ride and things
Mm.
like that. Um,
The, the the fights were fun, and I
yeah,
thought like having the
Very
maps.
interesting. Yeah.
The maps were really good to have like that like visual like okay this is what's going to happen. Especially like the one with the the monkeys in the beginning,
Yeah.
yeah,
and then this one with the farmhouse was pretty cool. The one with the plane, it was more just like just get over here quickly,
Yeah.
Which but it was also interesting because it was kind of like we instead of having like a combat, we like talked about how we like they were going to get over to me. It was like, all right, well, I'm going to bang on the water as opposed to trying to shoot the fish. It's
yeah,
going to like um, you adapted to what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
yeah. I found, like I said, this is the first one I ever did, so the timing was a little weird for me. Like I said, I pulled a few things out, I added a few things, and I wasn't as prepared for this one as the last one. Like I've been really sick the last 4 or 5 days, um, so that was a little challenging for me. Just the timing aspects of it. Yeah. Um, I thought this one would actually go quicker than the last one, so I thought there would be more in it, but it actually didn't work out that way.
Hmm.
Uh, and then, like I said, I did want to explore more of the social aspects. I had difficulties with the mental aspects. Like you were saying, just give you stresses for things you see, but I was having a hard time coming up with other challenges for the mental aspects of it, other than like do a perception checks to see if you can see something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think, um, like I was saying before, sometimes it's just like you just saw a horrific thing. You get
Yeah.
one positive and two negatives, you know. So like you could potentially only take one stress if you like roll lucky, but you're taking at least one.
Yeah.
Um,
So
and
trying to push the stresses up, I guess.
yeah, yeah, and then as the game progresses, because like in the beginning you'll just be taking a ton of stress, but as the
Yeah.
game goes on, you're going to be canceling out one or two negative die, and then if you still screw up and are unable to do it, then you'll get a trauma that will you're going to have to deal with. Like yeah, like main quest objective is put on hold because you're kind of losing it, and like yeah you want to go see your family but you're so terrified of going outside you got to work through that first.
Yeah.
um, I mean that would like I feel like that would significantly lengthen the game potentially,
Yeah.
just to go into all that stuff. So I think like the way you did it for the format that we're doing, just kind of like yeah, like 1-2 sessions, just a few hours to get it done. Um, and I liked what you did with the like it wasn't all just dealing with the animals, like it was dealing with people, like the faux military guys. I'm just kind of like, what are you gonna do? It's like, well, I know from watching The Walking Dead, I shouldn't really trust these guys.
Yeah, I wanted to go into the plant life a little bit more. It just didn't happen time-wise, but
Mm.
and these guys were kind of staying indoors or in cars, so it was kind of rough.
Yeah, because we didn't want like because we saw that as a danger, so it was like, oh, I'm not going out there. Yeah, you would have had to, I feel like, been a little more heavy-handed with it, like
directing us into certain things. Yeah.
yeah, like the tree, like as you were driving, fell on your car,
Yeah.
busted it, you know.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid being too heavy-handed. I'd be interested to play one with somebody else who's actually done these before.
Mm-hmm.
See what that's like. Like I know other guys do impersonations and all that. I don't have the talents for that. But like Jamie, I think this would be a real good system with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested to see how that happened. And then
Well,
when
he had said he was interested in doing one.
maybe we'll talk to him. Yeah, but like I said, I like the system. It's not overly complicated with the rules.
I don't think so.
Especially like the character creation, all that. I looked at some of the other ones, and the character creations for some of them, like Pathfinder and all that, it's ungodly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is simple because it's you, and there's aspects of that make it easy because you're like, well, this is me. This is what I would do. You don't have to say like, well, if I were this is what I would be doing. But at the same time, there's also things that make it a little harder because it's you, and like you addressed in the beginning, like I said, like I'll play the game, I'll do whatever, but I don't want you to do anything bad to my kids or my wife. And if that means they're just not in the game, that's fine. Yeah. But I don't want to see I don't want to pretend something bad's happening to them. Now, if I were like playing a character in like Pathfinder or something, yeah, I could have a spouse and something bad could happen to her, and I'd be like, it wouldn't have the same feeling to it, which is good because that adds some tension that you might not normally have, but you definitely need to be careful with what your players are comfortable with.
Yeah, it's why I asked these guys before. Yeah. And that kind of changed my original idea. Like originally I had you start off in Columbus or in Oregon, but because these guys that would be like the center point for all three of you. It would have been kind of tough to keep you together.
Right.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. I did enjoy it.
And yeah, it was definitely fun.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting.
There's 4 other scenarios in there. There's Cthulhu and a Viking one.
So in the book, did that have the bit about like the reservation type places being like safety zones, or is that you?
That was me.
Okay.
I was debating on how to end it. Like I didn't want it to seem hopeless, so I figured I'd implant these like the Indian reservations and then the nomads and all that.
Yeah, at first when you said like, well, there's this place in Brazil that's not getting attacked, I was like, how the hell are we gonna get to Brazil?
If it were, this is called like the apocalypse one, and then there's a post-apocalypse one. If it were that, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
And then reading through some of the guidelines for the post-apocalypse one, there are like human NPCs in that one. They suggest for like resistance players and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like I said, it's broad enough that you could make it your own, but there is somewhat of a structure there that help you along. Yeah, like I said, the dice were a little fiddly with the situation with Paul, where he passed the test, but or where he canceled it out. It's like, well, what do you do then? You only rolled 2 dice. And I don't know how I feel about that voting thing in the beginning. It seems kind of like a mean mechanic to me. Like,
I think if you like really knew the people you were playing with, it wouldn't. I mean, we were all just kind of like, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sure. They limit it in that you only have so many points to distribute, so you can't be like, yeah, I'm 5 dexterity, I'm 5 everything, and so that way no one has to say like, dude, no, because you can. It's kind of up to you where if you're going to go big on one area or just kind of be neutral.
Yeah. Well, the downvote is kind of what concerns me because you're telling people that the way they see themselves isn't really how other people think of you. Because you're basing the character on yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Although it gives you the option to do a fictionalized version of yourselves if the whole group agrees. We just didn't get into all that.
Yeah. And I think it say something like if you get downvoted, you get to get an extra positive feature or something like that.
If you get downvoted, you could either not take a negative or get an additional positive, and reverse for if you get you get
so it kind of
yeah.
It sounds almost even positive. Yeah, it's a positive as opposed to a negative to be voted out. And so
I think
you
it
would,
depends.
yeah, well, I guess that's true.
Yeah, but like I said, I do like it. Try to get it played again with different people. A more experienced GM. I like to see how that works out. I do apologize if it sucked. Like I said, it's my first time.
No, actually, it was fine. And I thought the way you did with the Roll20 and then the dice stream, when it worked, it was really cool. Like I could just see everybody's roll. And having the maps was cool. I mean, even this last one where you just had to like draw in the cars and things, like that was all we needed. It didn't have to be. I mean, it was cooler and more immersive to have the other ones with like they actually looked like the campground or the convention center or whatever it was, but you can make something on the fly. And it doesn't need to look stellar. It just has to work, which this did.
Yeah, that's actually one of I think the down points of the Roll20. The map drawing the stuff is very basic. Like the other maps you've seen earlier on, I did in another program and uploaded the map and then put the tokens and stuff on top.
Oh, okay.
In the Roll20, you can't draw a line with a texture or stuff like that, so like if you do like grass or something, it's got to be in a grid, 4x4 or whatever the grid is. You can't like make it look a little more natural, stuff like that, or if it is an option, I don't know how to do it yet.
Right.
It might be part of. We've been using the free version of it. There is a pay version, and there's stuff like Fog of War and stuff like that involved in it, but I'm not 100% what all of it is. But yeah, for the most part, the software did really well, and I'm curious to see if the issues we had was just Google or if it was Roll20, because thousands of people use this every day.
Well, yeah, I didn't have those issues the first time.
Yeah.
With the dice stream, it was just this time. I don't know. Lance had the issue.
Yeah, I had a point where I couldn't load up the D20 at all.
Yeah, again, I don't know if it's.
But then I just jumped out and then jumped back in the room, and it was back. So
it probably was Google.
Might be Google.
Google is finicky. Well, even at the beginning of the session, I had a hard time getting these guys into it because the link just won't let you in anymore for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was right. I was like trying to click on things like 20, like 10, 20,
And he was like, no.
Yeah,
Cool.
we'll see.
Cool.
All right, well,
Well, thank you,
for
Barry.
doing this.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great.
All right, guys.
All right. See ya.
See you.